Hello.
Hi, Tammy. It's Eric from
Hi.
Locals Only. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Eric?
Good. Hey, we're just around the corner. We're going to come scoop you up. I'm in a white Mercedes.
Okay. Sounds good. I'm waiting.
I'll see you in just a second.
All right.
Bye-bye. Hey, welcome to Locals Only. I'm Eric Hale, and if you don't know me, I'm the guy that founded Local Magazine 14 years ago in my garage. It's been my job for all those years to tell you the coolest places to eat in all of Southern California, fun things to do so you have date nights that aren't boring, and we've talked to some really interesting people. Now we have a podcast, and we're lucky enough to call this Mercedes-Benz EQE all-electric sedan, courtesy of Fletcher Jones Motorcars in Newport Beach, our mobile podcast studio. So sit back, buckle up, and enjoy the conversation. Welcome to Locals Only. Today, we're in downtown San Diego, and we're picking up Tammy Haughey. She's the managing director of Shipyard Advertising Agency in San Diego. She handles accounts like Visit California and Visit San Diego, and she has for many years. We're going to talk about her love for California, her love for San Diego, and how she became one of the biggest bosses around. So sit back, enjoy the ride, and enjoy Locals Only.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Thank you for joining us today. This is my wife, Erin.
Hi, Erin.
So we're picking you up on 6th Avenue in downtown San Diego, I guess essentially the Gaslamp
Correct.
district. And this is where the corporate offices of Shipyard here are for California, or one of the offices?
It's one of 3 offices in California. So San Diego, Sacramento, and Newport Beach. And then our headquarter office is in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, wow. Well, we're from Newport Beach. We made the drive down from here today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have the office there. Do you ever go up there to visit?
Not that often.
Okay.
Members of my team do. We handle in and out, actually.
Oh,
out of
really?
Newport Beach. Yeah.
Wow.
So we have some people out of that office that work on in and out, and
Off the record, I might be in some trouble then, because we made a viral video about the In-N-Out. On April Fools, we made a video about In-N-Out having the double chicken sandwich available.
Oh,
And
how
it
funny.
received like 8 million views.
Oh,
and
that's funny.
I think we caused quite a stir, so
You
I
know what?
apologize if we
They
messed
have a
up.
good, they've got a good sense of humor.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, we're really excited to have you today. Just for the people listening, Tammy Haughey is a recently named managing partner
Correct.
of
Yeah.
Shipyard, and she is a San Diego, would we say native? Are you a native San Diego?
I'm not a native San Diegan. I'm actually from Montana.
Okay, well, so not a native San Diego, but you've been here a good long
I've
time.
been in San Diego longer than I was ever there. I came to San Diego for spring break when I was a sophomore in college with my roommate and a couple of other girlfriends.
Down to PB, I'm guessing.
We went to PB.
Yeah.
Yes, we went all over. We went to Tijuana.
Oh, hey.
We did all the things, and we decided that it would be a heck of a lot more fun if we lived in San Diego instead of Bozeman, Montana, where we were going to school. So we moved.
Really?
And we transferred to San Diego State, graduated from there, and of course, once somebody's in San Diego, generally the theme is nobody wants to leave.
You can't leave.
And so I haven't, and I've been fortunate enough to make a great career here and not have to leave this lovely place.
I think you should be allowed to claim ownership of living in a place once you've been there a couple decades.
Yes.
I'm from Northern California, but I feel like I should be able to claim Newport Beach because I've lived there longer than anywhere else.
Yes, exactly.
Like 25 years. I've had a daughter born there, raised there. So I feel like I'm very native to the area, but I know the locals only thing can, like our podcast, Locals Only, people can be a little particular about it.
Yeah. Well, San Diego is a lot of transplants. In fact, when you meet somebody who's actually born and raised in San Diego, it's it's not that often. And
Right.
I have friends and clients who are truly natives, but I think that's the beauty of San Diego. Everybody feels like a local here, and everybody treats each other like a local, and visitors when they come feel like a local. So it's a really magical place. It's unlike it's unlike any other place, to be honest.
Well, you get to do something pretty special, at least the way I understand it. You've been taking care of the Visit San Diego account for your ad agency for quite some time, right?
Correct. San Diego Tourism Authority.
Okay.
And in fact, I have had a long relationship with that organization. My first chapter of my career in advertising, I worked on that account. We had it at an agency that was called DeZino Thompson, no longer around. And then when I came to an agency called Maring, we pitched it and won it. And so it came back into the fold, and I don't work on it on a day-to-day basis like I used to in my first chapter. But yeah, I've had a long history with our clients there, and we've had the benefit of really working on building the San Diego brand over a very long time. And it's one of the most, I would think, best performing of any of the tourism brands that we work on. There's just an essence to San Diego that is this truth that has really never changed for people. And one of the things that's so unique about it, I think, is that the same reason that people want to visit here are the same reasons that people like to live here.
Let's talk about two things. You mentioned San Diego State, and you mentioned the city transforming. And Aaron, I know you had a question. What was your question that you wanted to ask Tammy when we're on our way down?
Well, so my mom went to San Diego State and graduated. She lived in Mission Beach when she was staying and going there. And I love to hear her stories about, I'm sure it was a few years before you, but I love to hear her stories about when she lived down here. And I was wondering how you think that on all of San Diego, how you've seen it change since you've graduated college.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's weird. It's changed and it hasn't changed. Yeah. That's, I think, what's so unique about it. It's changed obviously there's lots of, building, and there's a lot of stuff that's transformed in downtown. I mean, East Village, all of that didn't exist. You didn't go into that part of downtown at all. Right. And so I think, there's been a lot of development. Obviously, there's been a lot of development in terms of, the life sciences sector and what's happened in San Diego in terms of that segment. So there's been a lot of development happen. But when you come here and you look around and you go to the neighborhoods, go to North Park, for example, that's one of the unique things I think about San Diego is it's a city of neighborhoods, and all of these neighborhoods have their own personality, their own vibe, their own culture. And so being able to see places like North Park go through this transformation, and it's kind of become this hub for young people and young families. And a lot of the people that work for us have moved into that area.
I would love to talk to you about another account that you take care of, which I think is maybe one of the largest accounts in the world. I would imagine it has to be. It has to be one of the largest accounts in the world. Visit California is massive because of you're literally the agency for one of the biggest countries in the world, one of the biggest economies. So maybe tell me about that a little bit.
So we've been working with Visit California since the late 90s, actually. So a lot of time spent
in succession, like never losing the account, because the account has to go up for bid, right?
Every 5 years,
and just consistently they've chosen you. We've a testament.
It. Yeah, no, it has. It is a testament. I think as the organization, Visit California as an organization has grown and the industry has grown, and it's an amazing leadership team within the organization, the board of directors. It's really probably one of the, if not the best tourism organizations when it comes to just this holistic view of destination marketing and really destination stewardship, which has become a big part of any DMO's purview now, as places become more and more visited. DMO for our listeners? Oh, sorry. Destination Marketing Organization.
Gotcha. So Destination Marketing Organization, sorry.
Yep.
Just for those that aren't in the know.
That's right. So Visit California, they market California globally. They have offices in 13 countries, I believe, right now, as it's reopened post-pandemic. And, we've had the great fortune of selling California to visitors around the world. It's an amazing place, having now lived in California since basically the mid 80s. One of the things that I've enjoyed about working on the Visit California business is that we've traveled the state, so when we go into production on new commercial campaigns, our purview is to sell the state, which means we have to shoot around the state. So,
and maybe some of the other places, sorry to interrupt you there, some of the other places that deserve attention might be the ones that don't get much attention, right? Because the world knows San Diego, the world knows San Francisco, the world knows Los Angeles. Right. We have to tell them about Fairfield and Vacaville and Monterey and all the hidden gems that our state has, right?
That's right. So especially when you think about, we have so many global icons in California. You just mentioned some of the most well-known, and they're important in terms of recognition. But one of the things that we're able to do through the marketing program, which includes a very large ecosystem of agencies, I don't want to misconstrue that we're the only one. There are PR firms, there are social moderation management agencies, and so there's a big ecosystem of people that work on it. We are the lead brand agency, so we work on really trying to understand positioning around California and making sure that the communications that we're putting out are really resonating and breaking through and differentiating California. And one of the things that's always been true about California, it's two things. It's California's abundance, right? The sheer magnitude of what is contained within the state of California is unlike any place on the planet.
Right.
We really are like our own country, not just in terms of our GDP, but the product that you find
the
here.
Diversity of the
diversity
landscape.
Of the landscape, the diversity of people, the culture, the cities, the small towns, the parks. I mean, if you think about, one of my favorite productions we ever did was we needed to shoot the rural regions. So the way that we look at the state are in 12 different regions. There's 4 gateway city regions: San Diego, Orange County, Los Angeles, San Francisco.
I was born in a rural, non-gateway region, a little town of 1,100 people outside of Modesto.
Okay.
So I'm very familiar with those regions and how beautiful I think they are.
Yeah. I mean, and it's, so we did a shoot. It was a very kind of small footprint production, not like some of our bigger productions where we've got celebrities involved and all of that. And we went through all of the rural parts of California, and we shot in all 8 of the rural regions. And so I got to see parts of the state that I would never see. I'm not a huge outdoorsy person, so I'm not going to truck up to Bernie Falls and Lake Shasta and those places.
Right.
But we did on the shoot. So I was able to kind of get out and see. I mean, some of these places, they're just jaw-dropping. Like there's a place in Mammoth Lakes area called Mono Lake.
Mono Lake. Oh my
Tufa
gosh.
National Reserve.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh my gosh.
It feels like another planet, right?
It really is. So yeah, I think, California, one of the things about California that we continue to hear, regardless of your political views and, the divisiveness that we're facing, obviously, is that people just feel like they can come here and be themselves. You know what I mean? It's like this, we had somebody quoted in research we were doing. It's like, you just do you. You do you there, and it's okay. And nobody's going to bat an eye.
There's definitely in California, there's been a growing political divide like there is everywhere.
For sure.
But I think the one thing that always lifts my spirits, and we do a lot of social media posts, and we're big California proponents. So we do these montages of trips that I've been on.
Yeah, right.
And I put them out there, and you always have the one or two, and who knows if they even live here. Oh, but you have these problems and those problems and the other problems. But everybody always comes to the defense of, yeah, but we live in California. So there is always that underlying current of, no matter how bad you think it is, leave and see if it's better. It's probably not.
Yeah.
Aaron, I'm gonna let you go really quick.
Yeah, I'm just so impressed, looking into you, just so impressed, and I love to see a woman in charge and how far you've come, and it's incredible. And I guess I just mostly, did you face any adversity? Was it hard? Were there things, or not adversity, but was there like ceilings to break through, like in your coming up and to become a managing partner?
It's an interesting one. I don't know that I've ever felt that. I mean, I started out as an intern making $5 an hour at my first ad agency.
Wait. For those of you out there listening, complaining about how this generation, my generation, made it, and saying you don't make enough money, a lot of us were working for $3.35 an hour minimum wage, or if you were lucky, $5 an hour, right?
Yeah, I did. Fortunately, I rose the ranks fairly quickly and moved from an intern to an account coordinator pretty quickly. But
where was that? Where was the $5 an hour at?
At Dezino.
At Dezino, that's what they paid you there.
But I mean, this was a long time ago.
I know. I mean, my first job was, I think, a legal job where I didn't work under the table was probably in '87, and I think I made $2.35 an hour or something like that.
Yeah,
So
it wasn't quite as expensive to live back then.
I don't think it was, right?
Yeah.
Well, I lived at my parents' house then too, so.
But so I always had opportunity, and as the companies that I was in grew, the doors open for me to grow with them. Mm-hmm. And I always had great support and great working relationships with every CEO I've worked with. Mm-hmm. And I'm great friends with, all of them still today. So I feel like I've had a pretty supportive journey.
I love that.
And today with the Shipyard, I was with an agency called Marine. We were acquired by the Shipyard in 2020 during the pandemic, and it's been great. It's been now coming together. The Shipyard now is one of the fastest growing independent agencies in the nation.
Yeah.
We just acquired a big PR company called Falgren Mortine, which is one of the
just
best.
This last month, right?
Yeah, just signed. Actually, the deal I think signed yesterday.
Oh wow!
So that brings public relations now into our purview. So now we are truly a full service integrated agency. Which will be great to have that service offering.
And the thing that I've noticed about you in this conversation is this sense of centering calm that you have. And
Interesting.
From the minute I called you, you were like, yeah, sure, I can come down. And every question in here, you've just seemed very relaxed. And I kind of did a little bit of research on you, and I saw that you're into yoga.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how much the yoga practice contributes to you being able to balance being this super hyper busy executive and this calm persona that we get to talk to.
Well, I think it's probably 30 years of imprint, which is good. Mm-hmm. I actually came to yoga, believe it or not. I was having what I didn't know at the time were panic attacks when I would be driving. Mm-hmm. And so I'd be on the freeway and didn't know what was going on. And one day I pulled over on the side of I-5 and I called my boyfriend and I said, I need to go to the emergency room. Like something is wrong with me. And so he came and got me. We got to the urgent care. And by the time I got to see the doctor, I felt totally fine. And so I was describing what was happening. And he said, oh, you're just having panic attacks. Here, I'll write you a prescription for Xanax.
Oh, gosh.
Which he did.
Yeah.
And I took it and I never filled it. And I was talking to one of my mentors from college, actually, who owned a media buying company here. And she said, I think you should try yoga. And so she introduced me to it. Introduced me to the studio that I still go to this day in Mission Hills called Radiance Yoga. Okay. And it made a huge difference.
Was the panic coming from the driving, or was it coming from the work-life balance?
I think it was just, it was a combination of, work and the intensity of working in an ad agency, which, it's an intense profession. Right. There's no lull in it. It's a very fast-paced, deadline-driven. I like to say it's not for sissies. Really, it's not. Yeah. It's not you got to be able to pivot and take curveballs and.
Well, we saw Mad Men, and you start drinking at 2:00 in the afternoon.
Well, we don't.
Okay, good.
Well, most of us don't.
Most of us don't.
Yeah, I don't start drinking at 2. I at least give myself till 5.
Yes.
But no,
just trying to get across the barrier till 5:00.
So yoga is definitely my happy place. I find that. There's nothing else, that your mind is at rest when you're doing yoga. And I just think all of my years of doing it probably have led to a little bit more equanimity.
Okay. So, I think we covered San Diego, we covered California, and we covered the yoga. I would love to know, when you get to where seems like the pinnacle and you seem to have life figured out with, how to react to it, and you have these great clients, what do you shoot for anymore? Like, what motivates you? What's next? Like, how do you have bigger goals than when it seems like you've achieved so much?
Well, I don't know about that. I am actually right now really, in addition to the Shipyard and really trying to grow and, build the agency here in California, getting a lot more involved in the community of San Diego. I haven't spent a lot of time doing that, so I'm now on the LEAD San Diego Board of Directors, and that's a leadership development arm of the San Diego Chamber of Commerce. Some of my team have gone through programs with LEAD, and I've gone through a couple of programs with them, and it's a really great way to get an understanding of the San Diego landscape. How does our economy run, to make connections across different sectors and figure out how you can be of service, how your business can be of service, and I think that's, starting to be really fulfilling for me. So I look at those avenues and think about the good I can do outside of the walls of the Shipyard.
Right.
So that's exciting to me. But, we have a lot of goals as the Shipyard. And, my big aspiration, and dare I say it out loud, because it's going to be, here recorded forever, is I really want to write a book.
Oh, hey.
So I have made a commitment to myself to start to lay it down and give myself one time a week, no matter how short a period of time it is or how long, that I will actually do it. Because I've been talking about it for years, and if you talk to anybody who knows me, they're like, yeah. She keeps talking about it, but she doesn't do anything about it. So that's really on a personal front, what I'm trying to kind of do some focus on and see if I can get anywhere with that too.
Awesome.
What's the book on?
Well, the book is going to be called Brass Balls in a Velvet Pouch.
Oh,
okay. We start with title first and then work outwards.
Exactly. Yes. And it's really, it's about my journey as a woman in my career, and kind of my story, coupled with, honestly, the shadow side of the idea of brass balls in the velvet pouches, imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Wow.
which I suffer from, believe it or not. And a lot that surprises people, but it does. I've always had that nagging suspicion that I'm going to be found out at any moment. And it's a real thing. And I'm sure it's partially what led to anxiety,
Absolutely.
And a lot of that stuff. And so I'm going to wager to guess there's a lot of women who have been in my shoes, are in my shoes. And so some of what I want to do is talk to those women and hear their stories and try to manifest it in a way that it can help other women with it as they kind of go through and grow in their own journeys. So that's my vision for it.
I love
my vision for it.
So grow into being
maybe you want to be part of it.
Yeah.
grow into being a mentor, to other people, which is, once you've achieved a lot, it's great to turn around and be someone to share.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that. So I just got back from the Modern Elder Academy, which is the world's first midlife wisdom school, started by Chip Connolly, and it's in Baja, in Pescadero.
Oh, really?
He was the...
we love Pescadero. We actually, we almost got married. What's the little town next to it?
Todos Santos.
Todos Santos. We almost got married.
We were just there 2 weeks ago.
We got married in Mexico, but we were going to get married in Todos Santos. We love it there.
It's so great there. We just stayed there at a little boutique hotel called Hotel Guaycura, and then
that's where we stayed.
You did?
With a little rooftop deck in the pool.
The best guacamole ever.
And they have a wedding facility that's out like a little restaurant out on a hill overlooking the ocean. We almost got married there.
Yeah, no, we were just there 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
isn't that funny? Anyway,
what a great little city.
So you might like to go to the Modern Elder Academy. We took
yes, please.
We took a workshop with Chip Connolly called Owning Wisdom.
Okay.
And that's a lot of what he talked about is, you get to a certain point in life and you've got all of these years behind you in your career and life. And, part of what you can leave with the world is your wisdom, right? Mm-hmm. And so this workshop was all about cultivating wisdom and practices to kind of get to your wisdom and all of those things. Is really interesting. He's got a new book out And they do all kinds of workshops on midlife transitions. Basically, he and his two partners, they just opened their second campus outside Santa Fe, New Mexico.
I think that's so important.
So I've never heard of this, and I feel like there's always a reason for all these conversations. Something's happened with this particular podcast that everything always lines up. If I interview somebody, they're like, oh, that's perfect because I have this coming up. And I think one of the best things about having this so far is what I've learned instead of what I'm sharing. So this has almost been like a learning experience, like a little college for me. I want to thank everyone on the Straw Hut Media team, including executive producer Ryan Tillotson and our editor and producer Parker J. Hicks. And as always, a big thank you to Fletcher Jones Motor Cars in Newport Beach for providing this beautiful Mercedes-Benz EQE to be our rolling podcast studio. Join us next time on Locales Only, where you can buckle up and go for a ride in our mobile podcast studio with some of the coolest people in Southern California.